point they go. Oh, yeah, you know when I left. Just don't know.
Hey, how are you? Hey, how are you?
I got an order. Put it in he said it was going to come out with another edition. It was there. And I didn't know if you had another edition.
Yes, you can.
You can be clear to the blessing. Okay. After. Yeah, special music. Okay, there's the collection. Sounds good. Yeah, I didn't know what song it was. Yeah, it'll work.
Joe and Sue lately? Joe and Sue. You know what I'm talking about? This big man. Big guy. You seen him?
I don't think so.
Good morning. Great, how are you? Nice to see you. It's a big one here, yeah.
This is it, and he's great. This is what can we give us our blessing? Do you know, do we need more blessings?
Yes, we do.
Okay, I have
So
them.
here, like to sit here, I'll slide down.
You're very
How are you? How are you?
Up there, not here. Down here, or doing south of Vermont. The first traffic light south of Vermont. No, just we're there, we're here. Some of them are some of them are flashlights.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Unity of Bonita Springs. Please join me in the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we have forgiven our debtors. And lead us not in temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
Welcome all to Unity of Bonita Springs. Welcome those who are here and those who are online. The foundation of unity is prayer. And our prayer box is always here, always available to fill out whatever your petition is, put it in the box. And those prayers are prayed on here for 30 days and then sent to Silent Unity for another 30 days. Let's take a moment now to just amplify these prayers, to focus on them and to see the fulfillment. Thank you. Let's recite our mission and vision statements. To to invite and inspire spiritual consciousness through unity and its principles. We are love, joy, and acceptance in the world. Whoever you are, wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. Our Minister Search affirmation. Let's recite this together. Unity of Bonita Springs is abundantly blessed. Creative people are drawn to us. Divine ideas flow through us. Financial resources bless us. We are attracting the perfect and right minister to us now. And with God as our source, we will accomplish mighty works together. And Candace is our chaplain. We're going to do that, our affirmations.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
What a day, what a beautiful day. Nice to see everybody's beautiful faces. When I do the affirmations, I feel I'm inspired by my heart, and spirit comes through me, through my heart, and into the affirmation feeling that I get. Well, when I did the 2 weeks ago, I did the big January affirmations, and I'm going to do them again because they rang true then, and I started to rewrite the whole January script, and it came up this again. So, you might hear some familiar words. I will recite the affirmation, and then we'll say it together with feeling. Inner peace. Peace fills me as I center myself in divine love together. Peace fills me as I center myself in divine love. Through our tool of meditation, we set the mental environment ready to receive peace. Guidance. I walk in faith, guided by my inner light. Together. I walk in faith, guided by my inner light. And we do all have the spark. We know, we feel it. The light, the chi, the drive, guided by the knowing, my God is always with me as I live my life in faith. Healing. The healing power of God flows through my body. I am whole together. The healing power of God flows through my body. I am whole. Believe it, know it, picture it, and the healing starts. Tell you, I am a perfect being. Therefore, I do not inherit illness. Our beloved Myrtle Fillmore. Prosperity. I am open and receptive to infinite abundance together. I am open and receptive to infinite abundance. Our abundance comes in so many forms. We are constantly receiving, whether aware of it or not. From a switch of a good mood to a bad mood to a good mood, rags to riches, or no food to a full larder, God is always providing. And world peace. I hold a vision of peace for the entire world. Together, I hold a vision of peace for the entire world. This is where your imagination comes in. Picture a warm, fuzzy prayer shawl that has been placed around the world, carrying love, peace, and understanding to our Earth's people. Namaste.
Just like to introduce Dr. Howard Olson. he'll be doing our meditation and giving our main talk today.
Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel God's mighty power and God's grace. There's a holy hush around us. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. In the midst of God's children, the Lord will always be. It doesn't take very many. It can be 1, 2, or 3. And I feel that same sweet spirit that I felt oft times before. Surely I can say I've been with the Lord. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel God's mighty power and God's grace. There's a holy hush around us. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good to see you all. I wrote this meditation. My voice is going early. I wrote this meditation to help us prepare for the talk, the message, and it goes like this. I invite you to close your eyes. Slowly, take a deep breath. Relax. Let go. Imagine you're sitting under a large oak tree in a secluded field. Smell the rich soil and the sweet air. Listen to a bird proudly singing its special song. Feel the sun's warmth, healing your mind and your body. Awaken to the peace that has arrived and is descending around you. And know this is when grace becomes amazing. And as you are opening your eyes, allow a gentle smile to come onto your face. And my prayer is that the grace of the Lord will help us all find our own truth today and that the truth will set us free. And so it is. Amen.
For those of you who don't know this wonderful young lady, this is Sasé. She's going to sing, guess what? Amazing Grace for Howard and everyone.
Thank you for having me.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a soul like me. I was lost, but now I'm found, was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to sing, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear the hour I first believed. Through many dangers, toils, and snares, we have already come. 'Twas grace that brought us safe thus far, and grace lead us home. When we've been here 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, with no less days to sing God's praise than when we first begun. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a soul was blind, but now I see.
Sasé. Just pull up a chair and watch. That woke up my soul. Thank you. Wow. Hello again. Good morning.
Good morning, Howard.
It really feels good to be with you all this morning here. I'm truly humbled and grateful for the opportunity to speak at Unity of Bonita Springs. Thank you. And there are some faces that you probably don't recognize here. Some people, some guests that I asked to come and endure this, and they showed up. So for people who are new to Unity and people who this is their first time here, and also I want to include the people behind the scenes here. I've met Robert, and this guy knows what he's doing technologically. I don't. So let's just say thank you and welcome to all these folks. So I wanted to give you one picture, or I had two pictures, but when we tried to fit them on the screen, there wasn't enough room, so my head got elongated. So I called Robert and said, can you do anything about that? So a passion of mine is to be in the mountains. I go to the Targhee Mountains for a couple of months every summer. And I fish trout. I fly fish for trout. And that happens to be, I think, the largest trout that I ever caught. For those that have been to Yellowstone, this is near West Yellowstone on the Madison River. You're familiar with that area. I love it. I love to live out in the mountains and fish trout, write books. Two of them that I wrote out there look like this. This one, I'm going to talk about this one today. That's why I asked if we could have somebody sing Amazing Grace, because the title of this song is When Grace Becomes Amazing. And the title of what I'm going to talk about is Grace is not a reward for past good deeds, it's a gift for future good works, which we need a lot of those future good works. And the subtitle of this book is A 12-Step Spiritual Journey into Freedom. And this book is The Last Dog. I love dogs. The neighborhood I live in, my dog, which is a male yellow lab, outweighs the next closest dog by about 80 pounds. I sit on my lanai and they walk by on a string. And my dog looks up and he says, is that an hors d'oeuvre? Anyhow, this book, a lot of people in this room have read this book, The Last Dog. And the subtitle is When the World Gets Crazy. I've never known it crazier in my 75 years. Finding serenity in dogs, spirit, and nature. Dogs, spirit, and nature. That pretty much wraps it up for me. A few people have asked me if I have any more of these. I don't. I'm sold out. I bought 50, and they're gone. I have a few of these, but the good news is you can get them both on Amazon.com. So, let's see. A few weeks ago, I emailed a family member in Madison, Wisconsin. I lived about 20 miles outside of Madison. And I told him that I was going to give a Sunday morning talk in a little church down in Florida about how the miracle of grace has helped millions and millions of people around the world. be recovered from incurable diseases. And somebody mentioned, I think it was Bill, maybe mentioned the founder, Myrtle Fillmore, of this church. And the genesis of this church, as I understand it, is that this was back in 1866. The Civil War ended in 1865, so this is a while back. She got tuberculosis, and which was incurable. And then she went to a lecture by a guy named Dr. E.B. Weeks. And he lectured about, the title was The Divine Healing Potential of Affirmative Prayer and Meditation. We did all of that this morning. We had a prayer, we had a meditation, and we had affirmations. So we're still doing what Myrtle Fillmore did from 1866 to 1868, and then she was declared TB free. Remarkable. That's a miracle. A few years later, she said, I got to keep this going, so how do I maintain that? And so she maintained a practice of positive affirmations, prayer and meditation, connecting with the spirit that she believes, and I believe, dwell within us all. And for the new people, if you look around the wall here, it says the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, etc. And then way over to that corner, and wherever you go, God is. I believe that means because God is here, in spirit, accessible all the time to everyone. And I've also come to believe that grace is available to everyone. You don't have to earn it. You can't. It comes installed. That's the unconditional love of the God of my understanding. And I think that's how I understand what's on the wall here. It's everywhere. It surrounds us. And every Sunday morning, Jerry plays and sings beautifully. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. You can feel the mighty power and his grace. The only time I get more goosebumps than when Jerry sings that is when the Sasé sings Amazing Grace. They're just starting to subside right now. Oh, it's beautiful. So, anyhow, I contacted my brother and told him that I was going to, emailed him and told him I was going to give this talk. And he emailed me back, and I'm going to read his email to you, because it's kind of to you. He says, do the church people, I said, I was speaking this small church, do the church people, that's you, know that you have been substance addicted, which I am, since the age of 14. My brother is four years older than me. He says, did you tell them that before they let you speak? And that you've been diagnosed by psychiatrists with serious behavioral dependencies. Substance, you put something in your body, behavioral dependencies, like there's a lot of people right now who are making bets on the big games this afternoon. That type of behavior dependency, eating, sex, working, etc. So you've been codependents, behavioral dependencies, and, since it's in a church, he writes, in 3rd grade, I think I was 9, you were exiled from Bethel Lutheran Church because you blew off some firecrackers during Sunday school class. They have no humor. I didn't understand that it was a big deal, but apparently to the church superintendent it was. And just real quickly to give you a kind of a feel of that scene, that event, I'm going to read you the first paragraph of chapter 2, which is step 2 of the 12 steps that I'm talking about here, a 12-step journey. My Sunday school teacher screamed and kept screaming. The classroom filled with smoke, and the acrid smell of gunpowder made breathing difficult. Someone in the hallway pulled the fire alarm, and frightened children stampeded out of the classrooms into the safety of the church parking lot. Shortly thereafter, you heard fire engines coming from all directions. And the superintendent decided that I should be dismissed for 1 year. Yes. My older brother said if I knew it was that easy, I'd get some of those things. For 1 year, I never went back. At the tender age of 10, my rebellious nature had taken root and would eventually take its toll in my life. As they would say now, I had some issues at 9 years old. I'm working on them. One last thing. I want to bring this in right now. On my 11th birthday, Mother gave me the Revised Standard Version of the Holy Bible on my 11th birthday. You know what? About 4 years ago, I opened that up. Because in the neighborhood where I live, there are some men that have a Bible study. One of them had it at his house. He said, I think you're ready. It's been 60 years or whatever. I opened it up. And here's what I found. I think she was worried about my future, and rightly so. Her birthday message in the front cover, which I saw about 4 years ago, written on the inside of the cover, reads, "To Howard Olson." Sounds like an attorney or something, call me Howie. But here it was to Howard Olson. I think because she didn't want to be associated with me anymore, what I did at Sunday school. Not really. From Mother, happy birthday and good luck. She must have concluded that without her religious version of God in my life, luck was my only hope for salvation. So I'm in a Bible study now. I come to church as regularly as I can when I'm not in that church where the trout lives, or sitting under that oak tree where we were during meditation. So my churches. Actually, everywhere that I go, God is, and it's a good church. I can connect with God. I don't have to be any place particularly. My brother's email concludes, "Remember, Howard, these have been our family secrets for a long time." The fact that I've been, that I am a alcohol and other drug addict, and I will always be. I will tell you that I haven't participated in that part of my life on April 13th of this year. That'll be 4 decades. That's grace. I always hesitate to say that, but I want to say that because I would bet, if I was a betting person, after I bet on the Lions, no, I would bet that almost everyone in this room is or has been or has children or parents or relatives or neighbors or employees, employers, something, somehow, drugs or alcohol affect your life in not a positive way. And if you read the numbers on it, the number of Americans that die per year just of opiate deaths, it's well over 100,000 per year. To put that in perspective, that's about double the number that were killed in Vietnam, Americans, in 10 years in an all-out war. Okay? So it's a serious issue, and I have no problem telling people that, because maybe they might say, you know what, you should talk to my brother. I said, why don't you buy him a book? So it's the issue of my lifetime. Myrtle started what we're sitting in right now. That's amazing. That woman could say, this healed me, I would like to pass that on. And she has. We're sitting here praying together, meditating together, singing together, listening to some of the greatest music I've heard, singing. Thank you, Myrtle, for doing that. So a big part of the message today that I'd like to get across is when you recognize that you're being visited by grace, ask yourself the critical question, what do I do with this gift? It's not so much a reward for past good deeds, it's a gift for future good works. How can I use this gift to help other people? That's why I wrote this book, that's why I'm talking about this today. And another person, very similar to Myrtle Fillmore, is a guy named Bill Wilson, who's 69 years after Myrtle, was in a psych ward in Towns Hospital in New York City. And he was delirious. It was his, I think, third or fourth visit there. He was delirious. He was out of control. He was in a room by himself. And he had a white light experience, a powerful spiritual experience. When the doctor, Dr. William D. Silkworth, and Bill's wife, Lois, came to visit him, they both looked at each other and they said, he's changed. He's different. He has more peace. He has a sense of calm about him. He's not screaming at us. Bill had been transformed. Not because of past good deeds, of which there were very few, according to his wife and others, but because he was being chosen to do something, to be used, so that God could funnel God's wishes through a guy named Bill Wilson, or Myrtle Fillmore, or you, or me, because grace is being conferred upon us all the time. What do we do with it? What Bill Wilson did with his was, and again, the grace was still in process, he met up with a guy in Akron, Ohio. He had no idea he was going to meet. He also was addicted to alcohol, and it is an addiction. It is a chemical. And they got together and they talked and they felt so much different afterwards. They said, let's go out and see if we can find another person. So they went back to the psych ward. There was a line of them. Take one, pick one. It worked with him as well. So they said, why don't we take this and carry it out to the world? That all happened in 1935, and by 1939, there was literature coming out. Because in the meantime, Bill and other people wrote the 12 steps that I'm talking about here. The 12 steps of recovery. Over 50 different organizations over the years have used the same 12 steps, the exact same words that were written and published in 1939 to help them. As a matter of fact, his wife Lois started an organization using the same 12 steps to help people who are affected by other people's addictions. I go to that meeting, or I know people, and it's a wonderful. And with narcotics, same thing. Al-Anon and Nar-Anon. And there were over 50 adult children of alcoholics. Wonder why I like firecrackers at Sunday school. At least that has something to do with it. But what I'm saying is that this grace certainly is not earned. It's a gift, and there's a purpose. And for us to find out what that purpose is. In the 12 steps, there's step 11. is what we do here. Sought through prayer and meditation, connection with God on a personal level instead of for an hour on Sunday morning. You know, let me know what your will is, God, and give me the power to carry that out. That's what I'm talking about here. So the grace that Myrtle received, passed on in a beautiful way. Here we are. 150 years later, must be. That's about how long the Civil War was. And Bill Wilson. I am sober today because of God, who came through Bill Wilson. I'm going to tell you another story about God coming to me through not Lefty, who's sitting in the truck, but another dog. Back in around 1980, I'd been with a woman for 11 years. We met as undergrads. The story is in this book. In the book, her name was Rachel. Undergrads, she went into a master's program, as did I. She went into law school. I went into a PhD program. There was an attempt at working between the master's and the PhD, but I didn't like the bank, so in 102 days, I quit without lighting any firecrackers. I just, how do I resign? Yeah. And so when we were out of school, we decided to get married. But we decided to buy the house first. So we bought about 80 acres in a really neat old farmhouse that was actually built by a Civil War veteran, I'm told. And we're going to raise a family. So in 1980, we bought the house in 1978. In 1980, I got a phone call. Back then there was just on the wall. There were no cell phones, that kind of fancy stuff. And there was a sobbing woman on the line. And her question to me, I really don't like this question, but it was, do you know what your girlfriend has been doing with my husband? I hate that question. You know? So I said, well, how many guesses do I get? But, and unfortunately, that woman had 3 young children. So the suffering on that side was tremendous. The suffering in my heart was tremendous as well. I doubled down on my drinking because that's the only, and alcohol, weed, and cocaine. That was, and with those 3, there's always a bunch of sex involved, at least there was with me, so we'll put 4 of them there. So I doubled down, and 2 years later, in 1982, I came very close to taking my own life. Drinking, sexing, drugging, and lonely and in despair, hopeless. So what saved my life, and this book is dedicated to that dog, her name is Casey. And the dedication of this book, dedicated to Casey, who saved my life. At any rate, I was on the steps of that old farmhouse, sitting on the step. I could not think of one reason why I should continue to endure this relentless pain. For me, this way seemed to be the only way out of my miserable existence. I'll skip some here. But the gun was up. The safety was off. I mean, I was that close. And then I felt her warm nose on the left side of my neck and cheek, right here, coming from behind. Ever so gently, Casey laid her broad Labrador head on my left shoulder, and I felt the life in her warm breath as she exhaled onto my neck and face. Putting the gun down, I laid my hand on her head and whispered, "It's okay, girl." Casey pushed closer and tentatively thumped the floor with her powerful tail. My eyes welled with tears. "You're the reason I'll stay alive today, Casey. You'll never leave me. If I was gone, who would take you hunting? And someone might be mean to you and leave you alone on a chain outside. We need each other, Casey. I love you. You're my girl for always." And Casey showed me the awesome power that love has to overcome the difficulties that will always be part of life. And Doug did. God talks to me through other people. God talked to us through Merle and Bill. God can talk to us through dogs or oak trees. If we listen, wherever we are, God is, and all is well. I went to some psychotherapy about a month or two after that suicide ideation, and she read the intake, and she asked me a question that I want to share. She asked me a question that I want to share with you, because I would also be surprised if there isn't someone in this room who has gone through something like that, some thoughts, something like that, or had somebody close to them that did, and perhaps completed that thought. But I remember her name was Janet Numbers, and she said, Howard, because she read the intake, she asked me, how well did you know that man that you were preparing to kill? You know, let me tell you, I start telling her why. No, how well did you know him? If somebody was to ask you, who are you? What would your answer be? And I started saying things. Nope, that's your gender. Nope, that's your vocation. Nope, that's it. Who are you? I have, I've learned in this Bible study that I go to. It's in John 8 something. Maybe it's John 8:25 or something like that. If it is, it's the only one I know. Jesus was talking to some people after he came down off the mountain. And they were trying to trick him and trap him, and he was winning those debates. And they finally said, "Who are you?" And his answer was about the Father that's in me, the God that's in me, I and the Father, you and me. But you know that whole thing, we're all connected. What I was trying to do most of my life is to figure out who you wanted me to be, and then pretend to be that person, so that you'd like me, you'd love me, and you wouldn't leave me. That's one of my behavioral dependencies. It's called codependence. Who do I have to be in order to be acceptable to you and approved by you, to get that approval that I've been seeking my whole life? I also finally came to learn that codependence, which is essentially, that's as far from being honest about things, that's as far as being truthful about me with other people as you can get. If somebody asked me, who are you? I would have to say, honestly, it depends on who I'm with. I'm a people pleaser. And I want you to like me and invite me to your parties and maybe perhaps love me, perhaps, who knows how far it's going to go. Eventually, that lie will let me down. I think that's why Rachel left with another man. I know it was. And so, God helped me heal that codependency so I can depend on you instead of alcohol, which doesn't work anymore either, or weed, or cocaine, or other people. It doesn't work. It wears out. During the 50 years that I left that Sunday school class and then got back into a community of people seeking God, which, by the way, was Unity of Madison. There's somebody here who I met at Unity of Madison, Kathy. I was on a golf course. Tell me if this isn't grace. I'm on a golf course. There's three guys who are looking for a fourth because their fourth didn't show up. I'm looking for somebody to join because my golf partner didn't show up. You want to play with us? Sure. It was the pastor of Unity of Madison, Marshall Norman, which Kathy knows very well. and his really good friend, Dave Pauley. And then there was a guy named Gary Rice. Before I came down here, I played cribbage, and every Friday in the summer I played cribbage and then play golf with Gary Rice. Marshall's in Mexico somewhere, and Dave Pauley's up around Green Bay. You may have heard of that in different contexts. So, my point is this. I left church. What I was learning at the church of my childhood was you have to earn grace. The way you have to do that is be obedient to this rule, this rule, this rule, believe this, go to church here, then you'll be saved. Somehow, even at 9 years old, I thought, really? I left, and I left the God associated with that church as well. For 50 years, I'm wandering around out there. And you know what? God never left me. All this stuff in this book is grace that happened to me during that period of time. That's remarkable. That's unconditional. That's love. You know, this whole idea about finding who I am and finding myself, the 12 steps have helped me enormously. Coming to this church and the Unity of Madison has helped me enormously because they don't require anything other than you want to seek God and bring more love into the world and let the light of the Spirit out of your body, where it can do some healing out in the world where it's needed. What helps me remember that is a movie maybe some of you remember. The title of the movie is Airport. Right? So there's a big snowstorm up in the Northeast around Christmas time, just like there was this year up in the Northeast. Big snowstorm, the airport, flights are getting canceled, people are upset, they're yelling at each other, because they want to get home for Christmas. Huge long lines of people trying to get different flights, etc. Finally, from the back of one of these long lines, a man in a silk suit, really expensive shoes, a new haircut, Rolex on his right wrist, just to be different somehow. He breaks out of the line and he strides up to the front. There's a lady there trying to, get flights going and get people reconnected. And he comes up and he slams down his expensive leather briefcase and he looks at her and he says, "Ma'am, do you know who I am?" She said, "Just a minute." She gets on the intercom and says, "Security, I need help at gate 7. There's a man here who doesn't know who he is." I'm just about out of time, but let me do one last thing here. I will tell you that on April 13th of 1984, in the bedroom where I grew up in Madison, Wisconsin, my parents were in Florida, there was no one home. I had had a particularly bad outing with my girlfriend at that time. In the book, in chapter 3, her name is Kimberly. Very successful, highly intelligent, young age, up in the highest ranks of the second largest bank in the country. So we had a 1 year, she called it a relationship, I called it an entanglement. But on that last night, and she had a condo in Madison, I was completely a mess. And they came up with, between her girlfriend and her girlfriend's husband, and Kimberly, which isn't her real name, they came up with this idea of switching partners without consulting me. Because I'd never said no. I'd always done everything that she asked me to do. God was with me that night. I said, "No, I ain't doing that. I'm not doing that." My parents' house is less than 2 miles from Kimberly's condo. I got in my truck and drove to my parents' house, got there by the grace of God, stumbled into my old bedroom, and then it happened. Let me just, it happened. And here's what happened. I was home, a glorious feeling. I'm just going to read a couple sentences. to be in the welcoming embrace of the bedroom where I slept when I was young and so full of hope. Light from the morning sun stole its way into the bedroom. Its radiant warmth quieted the torment of my body and mind. I put that line in our meditation today. And there was a bird that was singing, Robin, back for the winter. I put that line in there at all. And then here it is. On the morning of April 13th, 1984, a divine secret was revealed to me in that room. 4 decades later, I still remember the gentle but powerful words. Here they are. This is God speaking to me directly. Howard, you no longer need to continue your battle with addiction. Listen and watch. You will be led to where you need to go. You will meet the people you need to meet. You will know what to do and say when you need to speak and act. All that you need to do is trust that you are being carried. Be at peace with the God that lives within you. I'd never had any of those ideas before. It sounded like my voice, but those weren't my words. This was the moment when grace became amazing, as in the song. It was the hour I first believed. On that spring morning, I awakened to a new dawn. Humbled, I finally reached out and took the loving hand of Spirit. It had always been there, patiently waiting for me. I was 9 when I left. It was always there, always helping, unconditionally, patiently waiting for me. The world that I'd been running from was also still there. There was a freshness in the air, and I walked down the familiar back steps and left home for the second time. So, and there are more. There's 18 of them in this book. There are more, but I'm going to end now. I'm going to end this way with my favorite quote. One of my favorite quotes. It goes like this. Hatred cannot drive out hatred. Only love can do that. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. And so the love and the light that's out there somewhere and within us somewhere is what makes this place better. And I have found in this place surely the presence of the Lord, but also I have found a community of people who are seeking to bring more love and light to the world. And that's why I keep coming back here, and I hope you do as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Howard. Now it's time to share our prosperity. Let's recite the offering blessing together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God.
People who need people are the luckiest people in the world. With children needing other children, and yet letting a grown-up cry. Heart on the need inside, acting more like children than children. Lovers are very special people. They're the luckiest people in the world. With one person, one very special person, a feeling deep in your soul says you have now your whole. No more hunger and thirst, but first be a person who needs people. People who need people are the luckiest people in the with one person, one very special person, are the luckiest people in the world. With one person, one very special person, in your soul says you have now your whole. No more hunger and thirst, but first be a person who needs people. People who need people.
Does this lady have some power or what? On behalf of the church, I accept these gifts that were given in love to support this ministry and also to support the outreach that we do in this church. Thank you. I don't have a note of who brought the flowers in. No?
I think those, Kathy originally brought those in. They're still flowers.
Okay. They are beautiful. Chaplain is Candace, and she'll be available for after the service for a private prayer if anyone needs some private prayer. Fellowship, we've got, let's not do anything bad out. We've got coffee and sweets for after the service out on the Lanai. What else we got? Unity Crafters meeting, January 30th at 10 a.m. That'll be on the Lanai also. Anyone here for the? Yes, I know there are people here for the first time. Raise your hand, please. Be here for the first time. Oh wow. Put your hands up again, please. I should have something for you.
I only have 3 envelopes left.
Okay.
I'm good.
Ed.
No? Why do we want to start? And that's it.
Yeah, they can share one. Okay, stand up and sing a peace song.
Peace on earth, and it has begun with me. Now there is peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as the power, loved ones all are free. Now I walk with my family in perfect harmony. Peace has begun with me, and this is the moment now. With every breath I take, let this be my choice now. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Now there is peace on earth, and it has begun with me.
Prayer for protection.
Love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us.
Wherever we are, God is, and all is well, and so it is.